Welcome to our second in our series of Living Geography at UWE. As you know, I'm Aida Japarova, and I'm Associate Head with responsibility for student experience. In the first video, I decided to take the role of the voice only. Today, I'm delighted to be at the other side of the camera asking a few questions. Well, it was almost a month ago when we released the first video. It's been one busy and unusual month. We've had so many highlights over the month, and we have won research grants. And today, I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Stroma Cole to talk to us about her newly awarded British Academy grant. Hello, Stroma.
Hi.
Please tell us about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stroma Cole. I'm a senior lecturer at UWE. I came to UWE to teach international tourism development, which I've been involved in since I had my own tour operating company many moons ago. And I was chair of Tourism Concern, an organisation that fights for human rights of people in destinations. And now I'm the director of a charity called Equality in Tourism, which particularly fights for women's rights and how they are affected by tourism. And my research in the last 10 years has particularly looked at the use of water by the tourism industry and how this affects communities in destinations. And my grant that I've got from the British Academy that Ada talked about is a grant to explore the impact of household water insecurity and whether that is linked with an increase in gender-based violence.
Thank you very much, Stroma. Wow, this is absolutely fascinating. Can you please tell us a little bit more about the kind of impact your research has globally, locally, and personally?
Well, I think my research has been pretty impactful. I did a lot of research in Bali. I'm used to live in Indonesia. I lived in Indonesia for 12 years. So I'm a fluent Indonesian speaker, and therefore a lot of my research has been conducted in Indonesia. And my research in Bali, which showed that the underground water use was unsustainable, has meant that topic has become a hot topic in Bali, and it has nudged policy change on the island towards water, and it has encouraged hotels to be more mindful with their use of water. My work in Labuan Bajo, which is on the island of Flores, another island of Indonesia, showed how women in particular suffer when water is overused by the tourism industry to the detriment of local communities. And there, the research showed that what bothered the women the most was not knowing what time the water would flow. So the water only flows for a couple of hours, a couple of times a week, but what bothered them the most was not knowing. And since my research, there is now a timetable to the water. So you still only get it a couple of hours, a couple of times a week, but you do know it will be on Thursday at 2 p.m. So you can organise your life around when the water will flow, whereas previously you just had to sit and wait 24/7, 7 days a week, because you never did know. So yeah, just two little examples. Personally,
yeah.
How has my research affected me? Well, it nurtures me. It's what gets me up in the morning. It's what inspires me to teach. It's what inspires me to write research grants because it's impactful, because I love doing it, students love hearing about it, and I know I make a difference in places where I do it.
Thank you, Stroma. This is absolutely fascinating. I'm really glad to speak with you this morning. We live in unprecedented times, and I was just wondering, how about your own research? Has the pandemic affected your research at the moment?
Well, I think that, you know, the pandemic is having a huge impact on tourism, probably more than any other industry in the world. Okay, whereas students and lecturers are still lecturing, students are still studying, factories might be working less, but they're still working, transport's still running. But when it comes to hotels across the world, they are closed. Restaurants are closed. And so all the people that I work with in the destinations where I work have suddenly been made unemployed. I know we have a furlough system, and some other destinations have some forms of help, but mostly my work since the pandemic has been fundraising to keep people alive, because the people in the destinations where I work were on the point of starvation. If you think about it, tourism is very seasonal. So February is a very low month. You've post-Christmas, post-New Year. February is normally, we call it a hungry month in tourism. March is as well. So they were already going through the hungry months. They'd used up their savings from the Christmas, New Year rush. By the end of March, that they had no money. Prices had increased. It was literally a matter of putting food on people's plates. So my work, and fortunately with my students, because my students get to be able to go and work out in the destinations where I work as volunteers, and fortunately I've used that through their networks. Now they've got jobs, and that they have got families, whatever it is. If 10 people you know all give £10, you have £100. If those 10 people all given have 10 more people that give £10, you have £1,000. We raised £500 in the first weekend, when I knew about how dire the situation was, and we have fed 45 families this month with that money.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Stroma. That's amazing. Absolutely incredible work that you do. So are you personally in touch with all the people that you work with?
Well, not all of them, because I would never have time to supervise my students. But no, yes, I am with the people in the destinations. Yes, absolutely, completely in touch. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Thank you very much for that. And just a question about your teaching role at the University of West of England, Bristol. And I'm really curious to know, what do you love the most about being lecturer?
I think what I love the most is, I think that I'm kind of the ideal academic. I'm very embedded in research, and I can bring that research into the classroom. So my students are not learning about things that happened when I did a PhD years ago, or the last time I had the opportunity to really undertake some research. I'm constantly doing research, and I'm constantly feeding that to students. And also, because I'm embedded in the industry, in the places where I work, I can bring that industry right into the classroom. In my third year student assignment is co-created with a tour operator who offers a prize to the best student report, and what he thinks is the best is from an industry perspective, which is not the same as an academically marked one. So it's very interesting how you can have the best in the class academically, but the best in the class industrially could be something different, which is the case this year. And also because once you've worked with students in the classroom and they've understood what I do and they're excited by what I do, I then give them an opportunity to go and work in Flores, for example, and then they go into industry, and then I have my contacts in industry. And that's what I love about my job, is that constant nurturing process which feeds and grows.
Amazing.
And
thank you.
Yes.
Are you still in touch with your former students?
Oh, very much so. Oh yes, absolutely. Yes.
If they're watching this now, what would you say?
Sorry?
If they're watching our interview, what would you say?
I'd say I hope it's still going absolutely brilliantly. I'm very jealous of some of the jobs that some of you have managed to get into. And don't forget us back here, still doing what we've always been doing at UWE, and stay in touch. Keep sending
And
me your lovely messages.
thank you, Stroma. And really, just last question from me. What is one piece of advice that you could give to our students for 2020?
I think my advice is just to keep living, to not let the situation weigh you down. We can't pretend it's not there, but we can not let it cloud our everyday thoughts and thinking. You can't travel, we can't travel, it's very sad, but you can study, you can travel virtually, you can learn, be nurtured by the growing environment due to the lack of pollution, and to use this as a time to reflect on the opportunities for the planet, because the pandemic has given us, the world, a way to see that reducing carbon is possible, and we do all still live, and there is massive advantages to everybody from it. There's lots we will need to get used to, but I think my advice for 2020 is do as little different as possible.
Thank you very much, Stroma, and thank you for your time, and thank you for a great interview. I feel like we've really got to know you, and I just want to sincerely congratulate you on the research grant that you won. I'm looking forward to the research funding to have an incredible positive impact on the industry that you work in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Strom.